third or fourth day, the Taliban were handed a dossier, which was also given to Al Jazeera, and I got to see it a few weeks later after I was released. And this dossier was a bogus intelligence file, which made me look to be some sort of super spy. They had authentic documents like my bank account, but it had been altered so that it looked as though that I was getting regular payments from some sort of spy agency. It's a pity they couldn't have backed it up by putting actual money into my account, but they just falsified the records.
Who did that, and why did they do that?
I was told later that it was almost certainly American intelligence, because it was a very clumsy, rushed job. And I said, well, why would the Americans want me killed? And I was told, well, it wasn't anything personal, but it would help kickstart the war. And it was, you know, genuinely.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I've never heard that part of the story. I've never heard of that.
Genuinely, it would have helped, because my story went absolutely global at the time. And it went global because there was nothing happening for 3 weeks in the run-up to the war. And so anything that was different than Tony Blair getting off a plane to meet George Bush, or, you know, this was something different. And so this was because everybody knew that this poor single mum in Britain was captured by the Taliban. If I'd come back in a body bag, a lot of people would have been quite happy. Not because they wanted me to die necessarily, but it would have helped us say, see, we told you they're brutal, evil, and hate women. So, but because it was such a rushed job, and because people who did know me did contact the Taliban and other people as well, because of all of that, I think the Taliban thought, well, what's this dossier? What's the purpose of it? You know, they must hate her as much as we do. Well, tell you what, let's send her back. We'll hang on to all the we'll hang on to all those other nice Westerners, because the Christians were model prisoners. I mean, they were, you know, they were, bless them. But they must have said, well, we'll send her back.
Believable. I mean, were you angry at the American government for doing that? Like, that was really no.
I mean, there was a few things that I found out subsequently as the years went on. When the fall of Libya happened, I was over there and I bumped into a fighter from who had been in Afghanistan, and he had been in the Al-Qaeda camp down the road. And one of the reasons that they moved me from Jalalabad to Kabul was for my own safety, because the Arab camp had said, why have we got a Westerner there? Why don't we just make an example of her and take off her head? And so this Al-Qaeda fighter was telling me this. He said, yeah, we were wanting to go and chop off your head. And I went, really? He said, but don't take it personally. He said, we didn't know, you know, what would happen, because subsequently I did convert to Islam, but it was about 2 years later. So, you know, a lot of people wanted me dead for their own purposes.
Here you are covering a story, and this is what it's evolved to. You'll become a little like a football in a political mishmash.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.